दुख में सुमिरन सब करे, सुख में करे न कोई. See, the passage of life, the more we experience life, the more we realize the game of life. Life is nothing but an interaction between you and the world. So there are two elements in this equation of life. That is you, the individual we call as the subject, and then there is the platform of the world, which is called as the object. Now, putting the individual aside for a moment, the world is the same for everybody, irrespective of which field, which location, which geographical position, wherever you are, the experiences of your life will clearly tell you that the world is nothing but opposites. In fact, one of the very famous, or not, we should say a famous reference is there, but another synonymous to the world is known as dvandvas, means it's opposites. Everything in life is nothing but an opposite. And you experience that opposite right through your life, where there is heat, there is cold, there is birth, there is death, there is pain, opposite of pain, there is joy, there is sorrow, there is moment of ecstasy, there are moments of dejection, there are moments where you're surrounded with people, and there are moments that you're left alone, there are moments that you're laughing, and there are moments that you're mourning. There is profit and loss, there is honor and dishonor. Now, I'm only throwing all these opposites which the world throws at you. Now, the question which the text and Sant KABIR is asking us, what have you done to equip yourself to face these obvious extremities of life that you would be subjected to from the moment you go out into the world? You will come across a friend, you will come across a foe, you will come across a benefactor, you will come across a malefactor. You will come across very divine people, you will come across the worst of demoniac people. What have you done to yourself to equip yourself to deal with this life? This is a very fundamental question we got to ask before you have started taking an ownership of your life and saying, I know what life is. And experience has taught us that the more we have seen life, to that extent we have less prepared ourselves to face these challenges. The more we experience life, I'm saying this with great certainty, the more you experience life, the more we realize the less we have prepared ourselves to face these eventualities of life. And what's the only way you can test yourself is have these certain extremities, the certainty that you will have to go through this, which I've said. Do they affect you? Do they topple you? Do you lose your balance or composure? This is the acid test. When you go through these, do the experiences of your life, The experience of life is nothing but a simple example could be the roller coaster. You go through these theme parks, and some of these theme parks go to extreme level where you experience certain amount of the G-force, where these the people in the fighter pilots, they go to the extreme G levels where you feel that weightlessness, and you experience that through these roller coaster rides, and they take you to such a giddy height, and you just drop as if you are being pushed from a precipice. You just have a precipitous fall. Almost you lose your senses. You are not able to fathom what that experience is. That is life. For no reason the world takes you up. For no reason the world pushes you down. Recently, I heard somebody telling me, I went up, 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 up. I came down, 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 down. I came back to the same point where I started, sir. I said, this is very familiar. I've heard somewhere. Where have I heard? From the Shastras. They think this is life, man. This is the undulations of life, the crests and the troughs of life. Every one of you are subjected through every experience. Now the question is whether you are able to handle it. So, and if you are not able to handle it, many a moment, many a people are drawn, they become philosophic in moments of grief or sorrow, not understanding why. They keep questioning, why me? Why should I go through this? What have I done? You start questioning, entertaining the fundamental questions of life, but by the time you ask these questions, it's too late, because you are punished. Punished by what? Punished by your own actions, not for your actions. Remember this. You're punished by your own actions, not for your actions. It's not that somebody sitting out there is punishing you for not preparing to face life. You're punished by your ill preparation to handle life. Your own actions, your own ill-prepared actions, you face the consequences. You go through grief, sorrow, misery. A simple question. Let's say there is the young found love, and you believe you have found your life partner, and you spend some time with that person. You decided that you want to make that person your life partner, and suddenly you come to know the other partner is walking away from your life for a reason that you don't understand. Recently I came to know, and I tell you, the entire family was shattered. They were short of fixing dates for the marriage. They were so happy that the boy and the girl are found happiness in each other's company, and for some reason, I don't want to get into the details, who's to be blamed? That's another blame game we don't want to play. But the proposal got deferred, and they didn't want to go ahead. My question is, which boy or a girl is prepared to handle that? Which parent is prepared to handle that? So neither the parents, nor the children, nor the well-wishers, nobody is prepared to face what is a possibility. That's a possible equation, isn't it? It's possible that it cannot go ahead. Nobody thinks of it. I am thinking of another episode. My cousin sister. Now she's a grandmother of 4 grandchildren. But when she gave birth to a 3rd child, the child was stillborn. The child died on birth, on delivery. She was on the verge of committing suicide. in the hospital. She tried to consume pesticide. I don't know how she could get hold of a pesticide in the hospital. She got hold of it and she consumed it to commit suicide because she had a third, still, it's not the first child, the third stillborn child. And yet the only guarantee the moment you're born is death. And tell me, how many of you have processed it and prepared for that? That death is the only thing that is certain. And am I prepared to face that piece of information coming my way? How ill prepared to face life we are. When do you learn it? The moment you enter the arena of life. It's like me entering a play court, a game. I want to play a game. And the moment I enter the sport and I start facing the opponent, I know how well prepared or how ill prepared I am, isn't it? I got to enter the arena to know how well is my game. Am I able to match the opponent? Or am I able to challenge the opponent? Am I able to conquer the opponent? Depends only when you enter the arena. And when you enter the arena of life, you realize that two elements I said, the world and you. The world seems to win over you all the time, most of the times. And that is the spirit with which the verse is saying, Dukhume sumiran sab kare, sukhume kare na koi. If only you can spare some time from your so-called busy rat race of life, of aggrandizing and acquiring, if you can just withdraw into your inner self and reflect on these higher values, it will prepare you to face the inevitable what life puts you through. I don't know. I see it so clearly. I see it so vividly. What troubles me is why others can't see it. What is it? The need to invest your time in this knowledge. Not after retiring from life, before you get into the arena of life. This I can't understand. This baffles me. It just baffles me. Why can't people relate to it? Why can't people think straight? Don't you get a license? Learn and get a license to drive before you start driving? Isn't that a rocket science to get it? So also, should you not, just like, should you not learn an art before you actually start practicing it and perfecting it? I need to learn how to use the tools of carpentry to become a better carpenter. I need to learn the tools of engineering to become a better engineer. I need to know the know-how of a doctor to become a better doctor. So also I need to learn the know-how of life before I start perfecting life. How can that simple common sense be a missing link in humanity? I can't understand. And I'm not complaining. I'm only trying to share the concern so that you take it to your children. Let them think. It's not the question of whether your children have attended Bal Vihar or other Vihar. The question is whether is it ingrained in them. You have gone to many Vihars. I know how parents drive their kids like a cowherd boy drive their cattle from different pasture to pasture. I know how life of parents, especially when their children are growing, they will take them to Bharatanatyam class, they'll take to the instrument class, they'll take to the game class, then they'll take to ice skating, then they'll take to mountain climbing, then to rock climbing, then they'll say in between Gita class, and they'll say that class. So it is just one of the things that you are giving them. It's not that you're giving them the real know-how of life. One of the things that you are throwing at them. That is not the kind of exposure I'm talking about. You have not become a doctor by going to vihars in weekends. Have you become a doctor like that? That essential knowledge which ought to be given in a structured, disciplined way, and that produces results. You are wondering why is he in such a mood today? I am in no I'm in no mood I'm only mood is to do some justice to Sant Kabir. That man is said and gone. I hope people are hearing him. And to complete the thought, in the Gita, please take a note, in the second chapter and the 70th verse, the second chapter, 70th verse, where he gives a finishing touch of a sthita prajna, where he says, Apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudramapa pravishanti advat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve. He gives this reference to an ocean. Sashanti mapnoti nakama kami. This is a mantra. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudramapa pravishanti advat. He takes a comparison of a spiritually perfect person to an ocean which doesn't swell because of that continuous flow of the rivers into the ocean. Have you seen an ocean swelling, overflowing? If the rivers were all to dry up and there's not a drop of water that goes into the ocean by these mighty rivers, let's say nothing goes in. You mean to say that the ocean will dry up and sink? He talks of a man of perfection, where you become like the ocean, where the greatest of loss is no loss. The greatest of gain is no gain. I don't know, what is your greatest gain in your life? What is your concept of a greatest gain? What is your concept of greatest loss? He says, the greatest of loss will not topple you. The greatest of gain will not topple you. What a state, isn't it? You're so rooted, you're so balanced that nothing affects you. Now examine your life. A little good news comes your way, what happens to you? A little bad news comes your way, what happens to you? Take a step back and watch. Oh, is it? Just a point to ponder. I'll move on after making the statement. It is easier to handle loss. It is easier to handle sorrow than handling success or joy. It is not a mere observation. It's quite a candid point to note. It is easier to handle what? It is easier to handle a loss or pain than handling profit or moments of joy. So it's the possibility of you losing yourself in success and joy or moments of happiness is far greater than you being philosophical in moments of joy, in sorrow. I hope you all are following. When something bad happens, you may end up philosophizing sooner or later. Not at that moment, but sooner or later you will say, yeah, what to do? That is life. Everyone has to go one day, you know. But if there's a birth in the family, will you say, correct, many people are being born, one more child is born in my family, what is the big excitement? Huh? Would you say that? Can you say that? Have you ever heard anybody saying that? Why should I get excited? It's just another child being born. Yeah, okay, I've become a grandparent. So there is no need to get excited. So many people are becoming grandparents. Birth and death is inevitable. Why should I get excited about it? You would never ever hear that except me saying it now. If you've heard somewhere, immediately prostrate to that fellow. He is a great Mahatma in disguise. You all are very angry with me. No reaction at all from you all. What, Ramji? No reaction at all?
Namaste, Guruji. It is a profound truth that there is no need to react. And, it is very funny that in my life, I prepared my mind for death more. I prepare. So one thing I have observed is that you prepare so much that when somebody dies, you don't react. Even when my own parents died, I didn't cry. Because of the preparation I mentally made. And it came naturally to me. It was not like I cultivated, because I was only 30 when they died. Still, I didn't cry, right? So some people said it is bad, but you didn't feel. Did you not feel, or did you not express it? I felt, but I felt that it was a natural thing that happened. So I didn't get, but I think it did affect me. But so even now, I do prepare myself for death a little more than I prepare myself for. But I've seen people like my own cousin sister is there. Her husband died 5 years back, 5 years back. She has not recovered even till now. Okay. And so I want to go there next week. I'm thinking that I want to tell her that it's okay. You have to accept, because it is a part of life, that how you accepted the birth of your grandchildren, the birth of your so many things, and death of so many people also already happened. So this also happens. But I think it is not as easy as we say for some people to do it. But also I feel that in life, sometimes the people around you also help you to do that. Because to see life in perspective when you are emotionally upset is not also something. Some people cannot do it by themselves, but I think the others can help them to do that also. But I think it is true that we do get the upswing of joy and the downturn of sorrow. Very few people will be there who don't get affected by them. But I've seen people who don't get affected also. I think it is really a matter of how you cultivate the mind.
Correct. Blessed. I'm glad to hear your experiences. You're blessed. But it is true. It's only, if only you need to have that ability to perceive or examine life from that perspective, and then you know who are and who aren't. Mostly people are not, yeah, but a very, very profound statement, and it needs to be highlighted, the need of the hour. Believe me, the need of the hour to be able to deal through.
Yeah.
Right, sir. Thank you. Right. Okay. Yes, Hirenji. Hanji, boliye.
Yeah, I'm not clear why you'd be saying one is easier than the other. I believe a person who has cultivated, like Mr. Ramji, as he said, that he can handle loss or sadness. I'm sure he should be in a position, he is in a position, I think he can testify on that he has developed enough understanding or mental ability to handle a success without being overjoyed or without being going overboard. So a person, when he does one side, I believe he should be in a position to handle the other side as well wisely. Is that something I am understanding correctly? Why would you be saying one is easier than the other one?
Okay. I don't know, others, anybody has clarity on that point. Why is it easier to handle sorrow than joy, moments of sorrow than moments of joy? I know a long time ago, I think we had discussed this in some memory, if my memory serves me well. But however, why is it difficult to handle joy is because you get involved far easier in joy than sorrow. See, the natural aptitude or the natural inclination is to quote joy and detest sorrow. I'm saying a natural make of a human. If I give you anything not palatable, you will spit it out, isn't it? Anything that is palatable, which is suits to your taste, you will accept it. You will want to linger on it. You will indulge in it, isn't it?
Okay.
So since the natural flow or gravity is you're gravitated towards positivity, means you want that something which comforts you, and innately you reject or detest something which is not comforting. So moments of sorrow actually don't comfort you as much as moments of joy. So since you enjoy the moments of joy, it's like somebody is trying to praise you vis-a-vis somebody is trying to criticize you. You will not happy to hear constant criticism, but you'll be constantly happy if somebody is constantly praising you, even if it's not true. You will be happy to receive it because it is boosting your ego. It feeds you. It entertains you. And anybody criticizing you, it hurts your ego and it is difficult to accept it. So when something is in your favor, when something is going along with your personality, it is difficult to control. It's like a simple example. It's far difficult. Many people don't realize that many accidents happen actually there. It's far difficult to control a car downhill than uphill. A good driver is one who has, it's far more effortless to drive, means the sheer gravity and the slope brings the vehicle down, but it's difficult to control the car downhill. It's far more easier to drive uphill comparatively. I don't know if that example does any justice. Even when you're rowing a boat, it's easier to go against the water relatively. But if you're going with the flow, you need to have a lot more strength to not be swept away by the water current. So the technical thing is you need far more intellectual strength to handle the emotion of joy than to handle the emotion of sorrow. The intellect needs to be far more stronger and objective to handle it. So the emotion is far more intense. That's the reason it's difficult to handle. That's the technical point. I could have answered in one statement, but I just explained myself. So you lose your objectivity, you get involved and you get carried away in joy. Example, downstream or driving down a hill, you can easily lose your control. That's the point. Right, sir?
Yeah, I mean, basically what I could understand is that somebody won a lottery of $1 million, right? Overjoyed, and he has got a lot more chances of completely overdoing with it and getting astray with life and doing a lot of wrong things because losing his control, being overjoyed. And being sorrow, a lot of times probably it happens to be more internalized, individualized. So it may be easier to handle in that respect, I believe.
Yeah. Sorrow also perhaps is an interesting point. Sorrow perhaps makes you go inward, but joy always draws you outward. So you lose your objectivity. It's an interesting point. Yes, perhaps, yes. If that helps you follow, please, yes. Okay, sir. Right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, Setuji?
Guruji.
Priyam, sir.
Just wanted to share in this contest. See, some years back, maybe 10, 15 years back, there was a big spurt in land prices in around Hyderabad and many parts of the country, particularly. So this made a lot of people around. Now, when airport was formed, Hyderabad, around that, everywhere, people overnight became super rich because of the land holdings they had. Land prices shot up from nowhere to nowhere. And many of them who were living in poverty, they got, you believe it or not, notes were given in sackfuls. They don't know where to keep. Banks were not accepting. They were just dumping bags of rupees inside the house. And they started buying many things, this land, that land, car, and all that. They were not able to handle money, actually. They were totally, many of them became again paupers over a period. People started cheating them. They don't know where to invest, what to do, and all that. And they were very happy coming back to their own life. Actually, they are feeling miserable handling that money.
Correct. Yeah, it's an interesting reference. Very true. All right. So you can obviously find a great parallel to your experiences because there's nothing but knowledge of life. So it has to have a parallel. All right.